The King's back. 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 The King's back.
What's up? What's good? What's happening? Welcome to my live stream. I am the actual King Smith. Welcome back. It is Wednesday, April the 30th. We are live on this thing across multiple platforms. You can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Kick, X, all of them joints. If there's a like button on your platform, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Got a couple of things that I'm going to bring up tonight, as this is my weekly vlog in which I come on and talk about whatever the funk I want to talk about. And I've got a couple of things that I'm going to bring up today, and one bonus video that got sent to me by a viewer just before I went live, and I was hurrying up trying to find a way to be able to add this and incorporate it into tonight's live stream, because I thought that it was interesting, and I was able to find some resources and some things to present my case to what's going to be talked about. So what are we talking about tonight? Tonight, I've got a couple of different videos for y'all. One of them is going to be titled "Be His Peace," in which a man got asked a question only to be mocked no less than a minute later. And it highlights the narrative in which people say that men aren't quick to open up, because when you do, it gets used against them. The second video that I'm going to highlight is a TikTok in which a lady discussed how much of the same women are dating the same men, highlighting the Pareto principle, but applying the Pareto principle to dating. What is the Pareto principle? We'll talk about that when we get to it. Then we're going to have the bonus video that was sent to me just before I went live, in which a couple of people discuss what happened when they entered back into the U.S. as U.S. citizens regarding their cell phones, particularly during the Trump administration. Now, I went to go and find some resources about this, and we're going to talk about these cases and what you can do to help safeguard yourself upon returning back into the U.S. And this is primarily geared towards U.S. citizens, but it could apply for anybody. And really, in particular, whether you're going into another country as well, some things just to consider. Because this story highlights something that I thought about one of the last times that I went into the Canadian border, how I was scrutinized. So shout out to the viewer for sending me that bonus story. And then the last thing is highlighting how these student loan repayments about to have people cooked, and folks need to be have a backup plan, or have a plan to, not a backup plan, a way to avoid being predators for people that are trying to come after you for the wrong reasons. But it's not what you think. So, oh man, we are going to get into it. So grab your drinks, buckle in, and let's talk about it, because if we're going to be grown around here, then let's be grown and aware. So let's get to it. But before we do, let's see who we have in the chat. We got Michelle early on 2 platforms coming in and saying good evening, and the King's back. Glad to be here, baby, and thanks for tuning in. I know you're about to wind down and call it a night for tonight, so I appreciate whatever time that you could give me and any ways that you want to contribute to this conversation. All right, so first story up. Being a man's piece. Watch this video and tell me what you think. Let's take.
Hey, what are you doing? I came out to check on you.
Huh?
What are you doing? Thought you were working.
I'm looking at this.
What is it?
It's wire. It's a spool of wire. And I'm almost out of it. Can you see the spool of wire?
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost out of it.
Okay.
And I've had this spool of wire for like 40 years. I bought it like this it's not a piece of a long time ago, but it's like 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense? This is what's left. Does that make
I'm
sense?
sorry to hear that, and I'm sad for you, but you're wearing your Jets hat, and I'm a little concerned right now that you're wearing your Jets hat. I thought that's why you were crying.
Okay, I'm done.
Whew, man. Wow. So in that video, a lady's filming a guy, and she asked him what he's doing, and he's being reflective, looking at a spool of wire that he bought when it was probably like this, and he's taking this wire over and over and over and pulled from the wire and used it, and now the wire's almost gone. So all he's doing is relaxing, being reflective about this wire that he's had over 40 years, only to be mocked at in the end about wearing a Jets hat. Now, I'm a sports fan. I like to mock the next person, right? But there's a time and a place for everything. There is a time and a place for everything. And for her to do that while he opened up and being reflective, all that's going to do is have him say, you know what? I'm not doing that again. And then when she really wants to hear what he has to say about something, and he thinks in the back of his brain, I remember that time that I got mocked for being reflective about my spool of wire. So I'm just, no, I ain't doing it. Hey, babe, how you doing? I'm good. Hey, babe, why don't you open up to me lately? You know what? I don't feel like it. That's what he's going to hear. That's what he's going to remember the next time or any future time in which he wants to be open. So I'm going to make a suggestion to people out there. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Michelle said, wait, what happened? Hey, I'm going to run it back and let's watch it again because it's a really short video.
Hey, what are you doing? I came out to check on you.
Huh?
What are you doing? Thought you were working.
I'm looking at this.
What is it?
It's wire. It's a spool of wire. And I'm almost out of it. Can you see the spool of wire?
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost out of it.
Okay.
And I've had this spool of wire for like 40 years. I bought it like this it's on a piece of a long time ago, but it's like 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense? This is what's left. Does that make
I'm
sense?
sorry to hear that. And sad for you, but you're wearing your Jets hat, and I'm a little concerned right now that you're wearing your Jets hat. I thought that's why you were crying.
Okay, I'm done.
Right there. He was being reflective about all of the things that have occurred over the last 40 years while he was just holding that spool of wire. Likely seeing graduations, loved ones being born, loved ones passing away, people getting married, people getting divorced. 40 years, that some of the Desert Storm wars, things that have occurred over 4 decades. And he's just reflective about that wire. And shout out to him for being able to keep that same spool of wire throughout those years, just to get mocked at the very end for wearing the Jets hat. That was a minute of how quickly things can change and what can be said when you don't speak life into somebody. So, if anything, and you want to have a healthy relationship, be someone's peace. I know I said be his peace because this is essentially from her to him kind of a situation. But be somebody's peace if you want them to be able to trust you. The next video that I have is those of y'all that live in Atlanta. Oh my goodness. Atlanta women are dating the same men and our STDs on the rise because of it. I'm going to play a video in which, from a lady's perspective, she's talking about one of these Facebook groups that are titled, "Are We Dating the Same Man?" Now, I've talked about this on a couple of different podcasts or live streams in the past. There's groups called "Are We Dating the Same Men?" but there's not groups called "Are We Dating the Same Women?" Why is that? Why is that not a thing? But "Are We Dating the Same Man?" is. My reason for it is that you hear all of the time people say men are the prize, men are the prize, or women are the prize. In my opinion, and y'all are free to change my mind on this one, but I'm going to stand 10 toes down on this and say that you wouldn't have a group called "Are We Dating the Same Men?" if men want the prize. Am I wrong for saying that? Am I wrong for saying that? Now, often, or in some spaces, you'll hear about the Pareto principle, which I don't remember Pareto's full name, but basically he was an economist, and I'm going to butcher this up a bit, so correct me if I'm wrong. The Pareto's principle in economics basically said that the top 20% of businesses or people produce 80% of the outcomes. Now, people have taken that principle and extrapolated it over to dating as well, and saying that for the top tier men, 80% of women are competing for the top 20% guys. And that Pareto principle for dating also seems to apply for how people are dating in Atlanta as well. Because let's face it, there's not a lot of top quality people out there, men or women. And those that are get snatched up pretty quick if that's the route that those people want to go. Some people are going, you know what? Screw relationships. I'm just going to live free, live wild, do what I want to do, be a free agent, whatever, and just, do my own thing. So let's play a video in which a lady's going to highlight what these Atlanta women are doing and how they're going to feel about it. But before I do, let's see. We got some comments over here. All right. My mom over there on Facebook said she did and apologized somewhat. Shout out to Verilyn Obiasita. That's a new name. Hey, I appreciate you popping in. Watching from the Philippines. Let's go. We international over here. I like that. Hey, I've been to the Philippines too, by the way. Lovely country. I plan on coming back. I forget that Filipino dish that I had over there with like the thin noodles, but oh my goodness, the food over there in the Philippines is fantastic. I actually wouldn't mind living in the Philippines too. But I appreciate you popping in. That's dope. Michelle early said, I disagree to what I said. I think that the groups exist because oftentimes men are sloppier with their cheating. So you saying that women are more sneakier than men. So that's why those groups are there. Okay. All right. Verlin said, how's everybody? Hey, y'all respond in the comments. We got the Philippines in the building. And Michelle said, if you look at the quality of men displayed on those groups, you'll see that it's not about the caliber of these men, but their deception. Okay. And let's see. Thanks, your host notified me. That's awesome. All right, Andy said, what we talking about? Well, the first thing that we talked about was a lady not being a man's piece. And now we about to see how often or how dating in Atlanta is viewed. So let's take a look.
I'm in one of those are we dating the same guy groups, and this past weekend a man was posted on here, and this girl's like, is anybody seeing him, because I've been seeing him and I really like him, whatever. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of comments, and at least 7, I counted, I got tired of counting because I was disgusted, at least 7 women in those comments were like, I've been sleeping with him with no protection, like consistently.
I've been sleeping with this man with no protection consistently. Think about this. This man's bedroom game was so good that he's been able to convince all of these women in Atlanta to sleep with him. Not only that, sleep with him without using protection. And let's take that a step further. Do y'all really believe that he's out here getting tested as well? Or that the people that he's sleeping with are getting tested regularly too? I want y'all to think about that. I don't know Atlanta's demographic or Atlanta's makeup. I can look it up real quick. But it's hard for me to imagine that there aren't other men out there that these ladies are able to get with. But let's continue.
What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? And they're not saying like we're in a relationship, we're dating, we're talking. No, they're just like, we've just been seeing each other, we've just been sleeping together. That's fine. That's not my thing. But if that's your thing, that's cool. But why are we not using protection? Why are we not using protection? And one of the girls is like, oh, he the type that won't do it if you make him use protection. Like, he won't do it at all.
So you still go? You know what? Let's just throw it up in the air. They're also saying that they're not really having a relationship with him. They're just using them for physical intimacy in the bedroom. Do what you got to do. Get your rocks off however you want to get your rocks off. But when you catch something that can't go away, now what?
Girl, then don't do it. What is wrong with y'all? What are we doing? I'm so serious. What are y'all doing? You need to get your rocks off. Cool, girl. Get it how you live.
That's what I just said.
But at the very least, you guys, you can't be out here moving like this. All of y'all need to go get tested. Every single one of you. And to make it worse, the girl who posted the original post says she's going to keep seeing him.
I need to connect my soundboard because the Price is Right sound effect would definitely be playing right now. You mean to tell me that you're aware of him, now that you've posted this, you're aware that he going raw dog in at least 7, and that's at least 7 that are a part of that group, and at least 7 that are openly willing to say that. And you're like, yeah, but it's meat too good, so I'm just going to keep going. Pause. I hope that don't get clipped by nobody. So let's finish this. The video's almost done.
She's not gonna stop. She's not done with him. None of that swayed her. I said, what's the point of us having this group if when y'all find out information about the man that you're seeing, you're not gonna leave him? Why are we even here? What is the point? We might as well dismantle it. What, y'all not listening no way?
I didn't watch the whole video prior to playing it live. So it's hilarious to me that her and I think the same way, is that she's not judging you on just sleeping around, whatever, but it's sleeping around not being smart about it. You can roll the dice all you want to, but eventually you might be on those statistics that say that you are going to catch something that doesn't go away and is there for life. Now what? Now, when you're ready to settle down and be serious, who's going to want to get serious with somebody that is tainted? And that was a nice way of me saying that. Who's going to want to do that? Oh man, I'm out here. I done got my money up. Things are looking good. I see Shorty over here. Ooh, Shorty look good. Ah, but you burning though. Who's gonna want that? People do link up. Apparently, through the miracles of modern science, there are ways of getting past that. But nah, bruh. Nah, not me. Angie Trust over on Facebook said that many people are addicted to toxicity and drama, unfortunately. I don't understand it. I don't understand it one bit. I don't understand people that invite drama into their life. I don't understand people that go through life, invite drama into their life, and then cry, woe is me. But you did that to yourself, dude, lady. You invited this. You don't get to cry wolf when you let the big bad wolf in, thinking that the big bad wolf is not going to do something to you at night or when you're not looking behind your back. No, you don't get to cry wolf. So yeah, if you down in Atlanta, here's my advice to the men. To the men, run that whole facts. Run that whole facts. Get tested before you with anybody. That's just sound advice out here to anyone. Get tested before you sleep with anybody in today's day and age. Accessibility for getting your stuff wet and sliding in and out, it's not that hard. Rent needs to be paid here tomorrow. College tuition bills are about to come up. Student loans are about to be due, as we're going to play in one of our latest videos. So it ain't going to be that hard to get you some. That's a message to the fellas. To the ladies out there, chill out. Having sex isn't the hardest thing that ladies can do. Locking down a relationship when it comes to that type of scenario is. And I'm going to tell you right now, no man of quality. Let me walk that back a bit. It is going to be harder to get you somebody that is of a quality individual when you bring in a whole lot of things that could be burned into the relationship. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm wrong. No, King, it's going to be easy for me to do this when I'm a walking, burning bush between my legs. Tell me I'm wrong. Next up here, some people are sharing that, and this is a bonus video. This one I didn't have planned, but it came to me right before I went live. People are talking about how when they're coming back into the U.S., that our Customs and Border Patrol agents are going through their phones and scrutinizing what they're finding in these people's phones. Now, cell phones like this one right here. Oh, I was like, oh, let me put that down. But that's my lady. Cell phones like this are people's lifelines. It can also give the right person a lot of information about you quickly, or the wrong person a lot of information about you that can seem very intrusive. There's a small percentage of people out here that understand that, so they really put things minimal in their smartphones. Like if you have it set up to where it has biometric scanning and login, while that's convenient for you, the wrong person then can take that, use it against you while you're handcuffed, hold your phone up to your face and tell you to open your eyes, and boom, they could open your smartphone. Or take your thumb, right? Force it against there if you got your biometrics for your thumb set up. Boom, now they got access to your data. So while some of this stuff can be convenient, it can also be used against you as well. Now, I've got a video that I hope doesn't get me zucked because there's music in the background of people talking about them going through customs.
Immigration is checking your phones and laptops and tablets at the border, at the airports when you come in from an international flight. Sometimes they just take your phone and start looking through it. Sometimes they put some external equipment with some fancy cords and download stuff off your phone. What an obvious invasion of privacy.
Yo, be careful what you have on your phone when you're traveling. I just got back to the U.S., right, because the boat returned to the U.S., and upon coming, I was randomly searched. And these dudes, they asked me a bunch of questions. I'm thinking everything's cool, right? And then right at the end, they're like, okay, we got one more step for you. This is an electronic search. So what that mean? They bring me to a back room. They make me take everything off, anything I got on me. They told me I need to give up the phone. And for me, at first I'm like, whoa, give up the phone? There's no way you're going through my phone. And then they're giving me the little pamphlet. They're like, basically, we ain't no regular cops. And you coming back into the United States, this is Customs and Border. Anything you bring in, we can search it. And yeah, I had to give up my phone.
People getting stopped at the airport and having their phone taken from them, and having immigration look through their phone and start questioning why they're doing certain things on their phone. Why are they looking at certain TikToks? In one particular case, why you only have a hotel room for 2 days. In another case, I see you have appointments for hair braiding in your calendar on your phone. Are you working here? It's really interesting that the government is taking people's phones at the airport and using it against them. But here are a couple things you can do to protect yourself. Travel with a dedicated travel device, not your real phone. Back up important files before you go and take it off your phone. Make a really long password that nobody will ever guess, or two-factor authentication, because you're not required to share your password. But if you refuse to share your password, they could take your phone away from you and still not allow you into the country. U.S. citizens only have to give their identity and travel details, but their phones can be taken away too, and certainly going to be delayed at the airport. Green card holders are somewhere in the middle. They'll have more scrutiny. Sign out of important apps, limit cloud access, even try to encrypt your device. If your phone is taken, try to write down everything that happens. Try to get the names of the CBP officers who are delaying you and reviewing your personal information, and always remain calm. Don't argue, don't get in anybody's face, not helping anything. You'll lose that argument every time.
So for anyone that's thinking of taking a cruise or leaving the country, apparently immigration can go through your phone. They can go through your text messages. They can go through your social media, see what videos you watched. They can also go through your calendar. They can look through your entire phone. So if you are traveling outside of the United States and you have the ability to, get a burner phone. This shit is wild. This timeline is wild, but please pay attention and be aware and share this information with anyone who is planning on traveling outside of the United States, whether you are a United States citizen or a green card holder. All right, remember, diversity, equal power. We can change the world. We work together. Protect black women. Until next time.
All right, so
And for me,
let me mute that here and fast forward. So this is from the real Brad Bernstein. He is a U.S. immigration lawyer out of New Mexico. I'm sorry, not New Mexico, New York. So that video was a compilation that he put together of people sharing their stories about them coming back into the U.S. and what had occurred. And I found that fascinating. I found it fascinating. I have a trip coming up in July. It is an international trip. I don't mind sharing where I'm going. I'm going to Japan. Japan, what up? And I'll be coming back from Japan to the US. And I find it interesting that this device right here, they have the ability to go through it. I wasn't sure about that initially. So what I decided to do was I decided to look for the sources, a resource on the legal authority and practices that Customs Border Patrol has. And this is what I found. Customs and Border Patrol has broad authority to inspect electronic devices at the U.S. borders without a warrant under what's known as the Border Search Exception to the Fourth Amendment. And this applies to all travelers, including U.S. citizens, lawful permanent residents, and foreign nationals. Customs and Border Patrol can conduct basic searches, like manually reviewing device content, and advanced searches using specialized tools to extract data. Okay? And I asked my search engine here to look up notable incidents. Now, it gave me two. In March of 2025, a French scientist was reportedly denied entry into the U.S. after Customs and Border Patrol agents found messages on his phone that was critical of our current administration, which I'm not going to sound the alarms on that one. You can't go into countries like Thailand and be critical of their monarch and stuff there. If you say anything on social media and they've blacklisted you for it, they won't allow you entry into their country. They're one of those countries that they are strict about that. So in a country like ours that highlights free speech, is that free speech given to a French scientist when they come over? I don't know. There's other countries like Thailand that are like that too. If you're walking down the street in Thailand and you're critical of their royalty, they have the authority to lock your ass up. We don't have the authority to lock you up over here just because you say something. But certainly, if you aren't a citizen, I don't know the laws like that deep down. I'm not a lawyer, but I can imagine that there are ways to get you deported if you're not a citizen and you're critical of this country here. There also was a story of a Lebanese physician and an assistant professor at Brown University that had her visa canceled, and she was deported after Customs and Border Patrol officers at Boston Logan International Airport found photos and videos on her cell phone pertaining to Hezbollah. Now, I was curious about that one, so I did a little bit more digging on it. Let's see. So this person in particular had her visa canceled, and she was deported back to Lebanon. Now, I'm going to take a look at let's see, why does CBP search your devices? Border Patrol agents, according to their website, can search electronic devices like cell phones, laptops, and iPads to enforce the law at the U.S. border and protect border security. Any passenger or person traveling into the U.S. is subject to CBP inspection, and that CBP follows strict policies and directives when it comes to searching electronic media. These searches are rare, highly regulated, and have been used in identifying and combating serious crimes, including terrorism, smuggling, trafficking, and visa fraud. Any claims of politically motivated searches are completely unfounded. And this was a statement that was given by the Assistant Commissioner Hilton Beckham to USA Today. So I'm trying to figure out why this person, this professor at Brown University, had her visa taken away and was saying, nah, you got to go after having her visa canceled. It doesn't fully get into it using this article. But I find stuff like that interesting. Let's see. Michelle Early said, but the articles I read said it's rare and occurred mostly with non-U.S. citizens. Yes, that's true. So while those two stories I gave was non-U.S. citizens, here's what can happen to U.S. citizens. So while U.S. citizens can't be denied entry for refusing to unlock their devices, you can face delays, additional questioning, and temporary seizure. Okay. So what I talked about earlier, those were foreign nationals that were visa holders. you can be simply told you can't come in. But if you're already a U.S. citizen, you're good to go. But what happens if you want to refuse anybody from going through your electronic devices? Well, here's what they can do. They can take those devices and then use additional tools to break through your data. And it can certainly delay you, have you facing additional questioning, but you can't be denied into the country if you're a U.S. citizen. So what are some things that you can do? And here are some recommendations that you could do to protect your data. Number one, use a strong passcode. Disable biometric unlocking methods like fingerprinting and facial recognition. All right, that's one of the easiest ways of them being able to unlock your phone, is to use your own data and your facial recognition and stuff against you. Number two of what you can do is limit your phone, period. Consider traveling with a device that contains minimal personal information. Now, I get it. If you're using a burner phone like what was suggested in the video, but you want to be able to capture moments or use it to get from point A to point B, maybe post updated information on your vlogs, I get that it could be extremely limiting to have to do that, but maybe it's what you should do. Number three, back up and delete all sensitive data that you have on your phone before traveling. Yes, just like I said with limiting data, it can suck. But if you remove the sensitive information from your device, the more you can remove, the less that it can feel intrusive. If you decide to go, yeah, here, take it. And all you have are GPS directions for places to eat and tourist spots to go that you went and visited while you were out the country. Okay. And the fourth thing that you can do that is recommended is just to simply be cautious with social media. I get it, right? Here in the US, you are able to basically use free speech, essentially. I'm just going to say essentially. Yet, stuff that you say, people can find ways to take it and twist it. So if you are going to be using social media and have things that are public, make sure that your online profile and your digital footprint doesn't contain content that could be misinterpreted by border officials. Be smart. That's all we're saying, is be smart. Now, the final video that I have here is going to ask the questions. When these student loan repayments are going to start garnishing people's paychecks, how are people going to survive? There are a subset of people out here that are genuinely worried about what this is going to mean for them. And some lady on TikTok who went viral and was not expecting to go viral posted about her dilemma and just kind of gave her thoughts by it. And I'm just going to say she's kind of got a point, but also a lot of this she brought upon herself. So let's take a look.
Well, since everyone is telling their student loan story, let me tell you mine. So back in 2007, I was married at the time. I had 3 children, 6-month-old, a 1.5-year-old, and a 13-year-old. Decided to go back to school for certified medical assistant.
Okay, so her setup here. 8 years ago, she was married, 3 kids. The youngest was 6 months old, and she wanted to go back to school to be a certified medical assistant. A
And back
CMA.
in 2007, you could not take those. You could not take that course at a community college. So I
Let's
had to
look
go
this up.
to a private college.
She made the decision, 3 kids, married, to go to a private college for this,
You could do
which means more expensive than community college or a public
the
institution.
diploma or the associates. I was talked into doing the associate degree because I was told in the future I'd probably not be hireable with just a diploma. False. They are now offering certified medical assistant classes at the community colleges, and it's 10 months. Okay? The most you can make as a certified medical assistant where I live is roughly between $17 and $20.
Okay, decent money.
$20 being the high end. So I went to school for 2.5 years, took out student loans, took out an unsubsidized loan to offset for the income that I wasn't going to bring in while I was being in school.
Translation, she took out additional loans to be able to have money to survive. Because of her going to school and being a mother and being a wife and being all of these other titles, she was going to need additional money. Maybe, maybe not. Could y'all have survived on just your husband's salary and y'all scaled back? That's a hard thing, especially with them having one kid that was still not in daycare. I get it. But also, I would say, oh man, as a family, why make that decision? Imagine having somebody that you love come to you after y'all just had a 6-month-old. Hey, I want to go back to school and rack up debt so that I could get into this job. And you're going, with what money? Well, I could get a loan to pay for the tuition and things, and then get an unsubsidized loan so that I could get more money, so that at least we could use that money to like help pay the rent and food and everything. I'd be like, hey, come on. I don't know. Just imagine that conversation. But you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. At least you feel that way. Because if you're on this path of thought process already, she's likely going to expect him to support her, even though her idea is bad. And if he were to resist and she doesn't listen or agree to that, then the whole relationship's blown up on what was a bad idea in the first place. That's my take on it. Tell me I'm wrong. Does somebody disagree with that assessment that I've given so far? Because this is what happens in relationships today.
Well, graduation comes, I graduate. So
Good.
I go ahead at that 6-month mark and I apply for the income-based repayment. I qualified. And the repayment was at $0. Now, it still did accrue interest, but my payment per month was $0.
Okay. So while she was applying for this income-based repayment, which basically they take and assess the income that you're making and determine an amount. I don't know what the formula is of what you should be paying back. This is my understanding of it. She likely all this time didn't pay anything on it. It's still accruing interest, lady. And you decide to pay nothing back. Before I continue, I talked about something that I overheard somebody said that I was like, oh, that's genius. Since the pandemic, so since 2020, our former administration paused student loan repayment and took interest down to $0. So people that had a student loan balance wasn't accruing interest during the early pandemic years. Now, there were some smart people out there that said, oh my goodness, this is amazing. let me start paying this thing down. And they started paying whatever that they could. I heard some people saying, hey, man, I got $5. I'm going to throw it on my student loans while it's 0% interest. And that was smart. That was smart. That was smart. Angie Trust said, sounds like it was not the best time. Man, look, you understand. You get it. You're a critical thinker. And you and I both agree on this. I don't understand how somebody else can hear that plan and go, sure, let's do it. Well, let's continue.
And every year I have recertified, and it has always been 0.
Okay, you recertified every year.
Now that Mr. Donald Trump has fucked around with the Department of Education.
And you effed around by not making additional payments.
Those income-based repayment plans, they don't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, starting in August, after 15 years, they expect me to repay $492 a month.
15 years you've been on this income-based repayment plan, didn't make any additional payments. At least so far she hadn't said that she's made any payments towards her student loan. And now you're surprised that our nation is now talking about garnishing wages for people that have gone into forbearance and things like that, or that aren't they're not able to qualify for the income-based repayment. And you just let that loan sit and accrue interest, thinking that it was gonna what, go away? I mean, come on.
That's half my rent. That's my car payment and car insurance.
Where do you live where half your rent's like $500?
I'm just barely making it. I'm single. I'm a single mom.
Hey, there's the reveal. There's the reveal now. So her kids are older. She is no longer married. So now she's gone from potentially a 2-income house with kids to a 1-income house as a single parent. I'm curious what the dynamic is with how the kids are split up and the resources and all of that jazz.
I'm not making ends meet. I had to stop paying in all these streaming apps for the TV. Right now,
Oh, you got a cat in the background. Okay, so now there's cat food that you have to pay for. Vet bills and things that you should be keeping up with when it comes to shots and stuff. So you can have a cat, but you can pay for cat food, but you can't pay down your student loans. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Keep going.
my internet's going to be cut off, and I'm going to let it be cut off because that's $100 a month too. I have stripped myself down to the bare basic necessities.
You might be stripping something else down
I
later.
can't cut any more out of my life. But if this motherfucker decides to garnish my paycheck, I have no point of going on. What's the point? You're going to watch the suicide rates go way up, because how are we going to live? How?
I don't like that she brought that in there like that. I believe that she's saying that to try to play sympathy on a serious subject and bring that into her conversation. And that's just not right.
I have a college degree. I can't make more than $20 an hour. Yeah, I picked the wrong degree. Put myself in debt. 15 years ago, I thought I was doing a good thing, continuing my education while I still had little ones at home and a rambunctious teenager. And a husband and a home.
People don't talk about family planning enough, man. People don't talk about family planning enough. Every additional mouth that you have to feed is a liability, a lovable liability. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams. Kids are lovable liabilities. And everyone that you have is an additional liability. If you're not making well over the average amount in whatever city that you live in, you should really be worried and focused on living your life versus being parents. That's my take on it. It's one of the reasons why I only wanted one kid. I didn't want a lot of kids. I said that very early on, that I didn't want to have a lot of kids, because I watched how, unless you're already wealthy, it can just be a struggle when you have multiple children. Michelle early said, I do agree with what she said and what I said. Interesting.
I understand that we owe these student loans back. This is not free money. I get that.
Do you?
But these payment plans have been put in place so that people aren't sucked dry and can't afford to pay for anything else.
But did you make any payments at all?
I don't know what I'm going to do.
I hope she
I
answers
might
that.
have to enroll back in school and hope that, this is what I've been told in the past, that with your student loans and repayment, if you go back to school and take up more loans, then it kind of puts everything on hold while you're...
Don't. I really hope that you're not seriously thinking about doing that. At least not for that reason. If you want to go back to school to become like a professional, like a lawyer, which I've had a lawyer tell me, unless you just really love the law like that, or you really want to get into a career that is for a specific reason, don't become a lawyer. So what are you going to go back to school and accrue more debt for that's going to be worth it for you? You really need to answer that one.
You're in school, so I'll just go to school the rest of my life. I don't know
That makes no sense.
what else to do. I am disgusted. I'm scared. I'm worried. My daughter just took $10,000 in student loans out, and I had a long talk with her about these student loans. Honestly, if you can't afford to pay for school, don't go.
I'm going to pause right there. She just said, if you can't afford to go to school, don't go. There are ways of doing it. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm very fortunate enough to have received and completed my bachelor's in business and my master's in business. I have an MBA. And because I served in the U.S. Air Force, the GI Bill paid for all of my undergrad and tuition assistance while I was active duty. I did do some schooling while I was active duty, and there's a great benefit called tuition assistance that was able to pay for, at the time, it was up to like 6 credits a year that you were able to get. It was fantastic benefit because you could go to school part-time and slowly move the needle towards finishing your undergrad. And then I used my GI Bill to get through most of my graduate degree as well. I ran out of education benefits to where, yes, I did take a student loan, a small amount, to cover the last of my graduate degree. So I didn't enter and come out of having an undergrad and a grad degree owing massive amounts of money, because I found a way to fund my education. Now, I didn't join specifically for that reason. I joined because I wanted to get out and travel. Just having that as an additional benefit worked out for me. And there's been several people that they do go into the military for that. They're like, hey man, I ain't got the money for school right now, but let me go do this 4 years real quick. And now I got 36 months of fantastic education benefits in the post 9/11 GI Bill. It is one of the greatest benefits that you could get if you want to receive an advanced degree. Angie Trust earlier said to my statement that people don't talk about family planning at all. You know what? I did, but even I still got, when I had my daughter, it wasn't like she was planned. In my head and in my plan, not even in my head, what I discussed was that I didn't want to think about having children until I was over the age of 30. Castle came when I was in my 20s, right? So it was talked about, it just didn't happen that way. Now, what did occur was me saying that I didn't want a lot of kids. And man, I'm thankful for that. Because I got divorced with one kid, and that was rough. And a lot of that was my fault. There were several financial decisions that I made towards the end of my marriage that screwed me royally past the divorce. And I have nobody to blame but myself on that one. But if I would have had more than one child that I would have had to divvy up resources and time to, I really don't know how things could have worked out like how they are now. Because I'm thriving now. Thriving and well above water. But man, there was some months where I'm sitting here staring at the wall like, bruh. And that's just me being honest. Michelle early said that I do believe that the shifts in the country will lead people to make some difficult decisions. It's not going to get better. And I don't think people understand that. The tariffs that are out there that are being discussed right now, y'all think these next batch of iPhones are going to be subsidized enough that the consumers aren't going to feel it? We are. It's not like we can. The point of these tariffs is I'm not smart enough to explain the point of the tariffs. I can tell you what I think about them. I think that it's going to be interesting for consumers and businesses. Think about it too. These businesses are going to have to pay import taxes or export taxes to receive their goods that were normally coming from certain countries, and they're going to pass on that to the consumer because they're not going to cut into their profits. So when you're talking a 25% tax on something that gets shipped from sent from China, let's say it was a dress. You had a dress that was manufactured in China. Now this $20 dress is likely going to be 2 to 3 times the price because of the taxes and tariffs that were put on that. Okay. Shout out to Richard Bronco. He said, talking tariffs. Hey, the tariff discussion goes into what I'm talking about when it comes to how screwed people are about to be, and families, and some of the difficult decisions that Michelle early said people are going to have to make. Some people are going to have to do it out. If you're not well off, if you have not planned through this, if you have not reduced your liabilities as much as you can, you are going to feel it. Plain and simple. You're going to feel it. And Michelle said that I believe that there was a level of triviality in her statement. I hope so. I hope so. Let's see if she brings it up later. Let's say a t-shirt now costs $3 from t-shirts that are locally made. Oh, thank you. Because that was a point that I was going to bring up too. For a lot of the smaller things like t-shirts, certain other industries, yeah, there's going to be a boom locally. And some smart entrepreneurs or business people are going to say, ooh, let me set up shop here and build and start having production here so that I can cut into this market. Some smart people are going to be able to benefit greatly. For bigger businesses and some of the other stuff, like where is Apple going to now manufacture their iPhones in a way that's cheaper? They're not going to be able to build places in the US that fast, right? Within the next, how are you going to add the infrastructure to be able to do that in the next 5 or so years to be able to bring all that manufacturing to where it is produced and made in the US? Apple now has to make a decision on how to make that work. And they're going to spend money, and shareholders are going to feel it. I mean, there's a trickle effect. If you're going to say long term that this can work out, Okay. In the short term, people are going to pay. Is it worth it? I think is the question. All right. Michelle said, I also think people overestimate all of the products that are made in the U.S. Yeah, I agree.
Because these student loans now are going to destroy us.
Student loans are
Every
going to
day,
destroy us.
it just gets
No, your decisions
worse
are going to destroy
and
you.
worse and worse. There has not been a good day since that man stepped into office. There has not been one day of no bullshit. No bullshit. I'm at
Let's be critical. Has he done things that have been good?
a loss.
You can't say not
I've
one
just
day.
been sitting here thinking, I don't and will not have an extra $500. So I guess the only solution to my problem is to find a fucking man, find a fucking woman. We can pair up. We can put our income together, put our assets together. That's the only way this shit's gonna work anymore. If you're a single mom, there's no hope for us. They don't want us.
She said, if you're a single mom, there's no hope. And that the only solution is to pair up to make things work out. That is not a bad option when it's your only option, or at least you think it's your only option. Yeah. Oh man. But ask yourself this. That is a solution for two people that are in your situation to try to come up and do. And then y'all are both going to have to agree on what you're going to give up to like make that work out. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you're somebody that is a has and a has not comes to you and see like, oh, hey, you know what? I need to pair up with you so that you're going to go, why? The has is going to look at the has not, or the have is going to look at the have not and be like, yeah, that's a bad deal for me. What do I get out of this? What's in it for me? Well, I know it. This is a PG-13 show, so I'm not going to say that. But they're going to go, what's in it for me? And then you're likely somebody that's bad on deals. So if you can make a deal with somebody only to renege on that 2 to 3 years later. Look, this is a 5-year deal. You and I are going to move in together, have this situationship, okay? And the plan is to knock out debt this way for me, knock out this debt this way for you. We're going to combine on the combined resources like our rent, mortgage, the electricity, and the internet. And then after that, once we get down to a certain level where we can sustain ourselves, then we'll go from there. Michelle early said that relationships based on love will be a thing of the past. It is already looking like that in this modern society that we have now. It is already looking like that. What's that? Polygyny, polyamory, and stuff is on the rise. Why? I think that we're starting to see some of the effects of these kind of lifestyles. The people that have it figured out, they're looking at the people that don't have it figured out like, yeah, y'all can be over there doing whatever you have to do. I'm going to be over here thriving because they figured it out early. They didn't make decisions in their 20s that had lasting effects. You don't need a silver spoon given to you to still be successful. While I am painting a bit of a doom and gloom picture, we still live in one of the best countries to be able to pull it up out of your bootstraps and be successful here. Immigrants have came over here and have thrived And people that are in this country and from this country have made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision, and then want to go, woe is me. When you have people that came from nothing and had nothing, able to get their visas, able to work while they're here, don't make bad decisions, and thrive. And they're looking at those that didn't go like, you had every opportunity to do well and you messed that up. Not the administration. It's not the administration's fault. You messed it up. This video is almost done.
To get ahead. They don't. I feel like they're trying to kill off the underprivileged, the addicted, the homeless, the poor, our veterans. It's...
No, don't you bring veterans in this. Don't you bring veterans in this. Our nation's veterans are strong. They are strong. Don't you bring our veterans in this. It is people that have made bad decisions that are about to feel what's happening. This is somebody that's been used to living life on easy mode, like playing a video game where you're on easy mode, or what is it, Minecraft, where it's on peaceful. You can't die. There's no consequences for going into lava or not building and foraging for food or building yourself a house to survive the elements. And you can have a reset on anything that you do because you're used to living life on easy mode. I've been to other countries where you can walk down certain streets and kids don't have clothes on. They're struggling to survive. And I'd go into Washington, D.C. with able-bodied and able-minded people. Not all, but you can see able-bodied and able-minded people on the streets panhandling for 6 or 7 years straight. Why? Don't you bring our nation's veterans into this? Yes, people are going to feel it. The people that are going to feel it are those that made bad decisions.
disgusting and it's sick, and I don't even want to be here. I don't even want to be here anymore. And to all you young girls in childbearing ages, I would not bring a child into this world.
Oh my goodness. She said something that I agree, and something that I said earlier. But it's not about not bringing children into this world. It's about proper family planning. I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe less than 6% of people that are able to have sex and reproduce are actually family planning. Less than 10% for sure. Less than 10% actually sit down and family plan. Less than 10%.
I would choose not to have children. I feel bad that I'm going to have to leave my kids in this fucked up world one day.
You feel bad that you've made bad decisions that are going to impact your kid. I'm going to tell you right now, one of the things that I always knew when I became a father is that I didn't want to make decisions that my child was going to have to pay for. When your kid gets older, they don't necessarily stop learning from their parents. I still learn things from my parents to this day, right? If you're very observant, you'll understand and see some of the mistakes that not just your parents, but elders have made, so that you go, yeah, I don't want to do that. Right? Like, my parents didn't teach me about investing. I don't know if they ever invested anything. And I'm just being honest. Mom, Dad, y'all didn't talk about that stuff. Y'all did talk about, money, but not in a way that it was palatable for me as a young person, right? The power of compound interest over time. People that understood that or just had their parents help set them up. By the time that they're in their 40s like me, they see the results of being diligent in their 20s. It's why I'm adamant and I have these conversations with my daughter. I talk with her about investing. I show her what I'm doing. I've talked to her mother about what I want to do once she turns 18. I want her to have her own brokerage account so that she could get started now. I don't think I had a brokerage account till I was in my 30s. No, I did have one in my 20s, but I wasn't doing what I'm doing now. But I look and I think about the past and how things could have been and what my net worth could be now if I would have just had the knowledge and remained disciplined in my 20s.
Anyways, that's my 2 cents worth. I'm sure nobody will listen till the end. Nobody will have anything positive to say. It'll just, they just come at you all day long. If they know that you back the blue.
No, that's not true.
You know,
that's not true.
Gonna come for you. Well, we'll see what tomorrow brings, right? What more fuckery can happen? Have a fucking good day.
All right, so that's the end of that video. That video was long. It was a 7-minute long video. And what she said there at the end, it did go viral on her TikTok page. She turned off the comments. She turned off the comments because people went in on what she said. Now, why did they go in? Because of that 7 minutes, about 30 seconds of what she said, she took accountability for. Maybe even less than that. 20% of what she said was actual reflection on where she messed up. And then the other 7 minutes of that 7.5-minute video was every bad decision and things that she made with no real discussion to talk about what she could have done different or what she recommends to people out there. Now, that video blew up on her TikTok. She turned the comments off. There were follow-on videos that she's made since, and she is doing what I'd recommend somebody to do. If you get something that blows up, right, leverage it and use that to build up your social media, and you can earn money from being online. And she's doing a bit of that, but I did check out some of her other videos, and this lady just doesn't seem to learn. She deflects accountability like people deflect bullets in cartoons. She doesn't get it. She still just doesn't get it. And the fact that there is a good amount of people like her that think like her, that's what's wrong. It's not this administration. It's not the red. It's not the blue. It's you. That rhymed. I had to stop right there on that blue, and it's you because that rhymed. All right. So what do y'all think? Am I wrong in my assessment for what she talked about? Shout out to the people that have commented already. Those that are going to comment on the replay. Look, I need to know. I need to know what y'all think. If y'all got something that y'all can share to make things better for people, please do. That's why I do these live streams, to hopefully entertain and inform. People that are doing well, they get it. They're sitting over at their vacation spots, in their favorite place, in their nice home, sipping on a Mai Tai, having a nightcap. They got their feet up, chilling, and they're not worried. They're going to feel some effects too, right? But not like other people that aren't prepared. So tell me what y'all think, what y'all would do different. I appreciate y'all rocking with me for over an hour today. Thank you. If you haven't hit the like button yet, do me a favor, hit that like button on whatever platform that you're watching this on. And the link in the description is a link tree that has my other platforms as well. I also have a LinkedIn. Go follow my LinkedIn as well. I need to get more active on there. Tune into my other live streams that I do. I do a relationship and dating podcast, or live stream actually, with my lady called The King and Me Show, The King and M.E Show, on Mondays at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And I do the Sports Bar live on WTF Nation Radio / U.S. Army WTF Moments every Sunday at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern. I'm King. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.